You know that on last Friday there was an introduction of the financial situations of the United Nations in the Fifth Committee, and that's why I wanted to share this information with you. But I also wanted to give you a couple of updates on general reform issues and management proposals before the 64th session. First of all, coming to the budget, you know that the Secretary General has exercised financial restraints given the global economic and financial climate. He has presented an overall budget of $4,887,000,000 before recosting, and that represents an increase of 0.5% over the 2008-2009 appropriations, and that is in fact a 22.4 million increase. The proposal includes, as you know, the 829 million for special political missions, and an amount of 52.7 million represents the one-time provision from the adoption of the General Assembly Resolution 63.250, which is on the human resources management, which came into effect on 1 July of this year. And then if we include the preliminary recosting for inflation, the proposed budget actually goes just over $5 billion to 5.059 million. Or billion. The growth in the regular budget is a direct result of the priorities, objectives, and mandates set by the member states. We've actually done an analysis over the last 10 years to look at where the budget has increased and if we could discern, other than just we're adding posts, the reasons for this. And some of the priorities set by the General Assembly that have contributed to the increase have actually funding of the Peace Building Support Office, strengthening the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights. There were new initiatives to strengthen rule of law activities, again, administration of justice, which kicked in this year, safety and security, another issue, internal oversight, strengthening the development pillar, and also the DPA strengthening. And I actually have, and I didn't have enough copies, you know, we're always short of particularly color printers. We have two little handouts which show you a little bit. This is the regular budget, and it gives a chart, and we can make that available through the spokesman's office, either to send it to you electronically. We are preparing actually more of these handouts to package it a little bit differently. Department of Management very rarely has press releases, so I think that what we can do is give you the facts in a little bit of more of a handy format, so to say. Let me also say a word about human resources. You know that on 1 July we have adapted the contractual arrangements to the changing operational needs of the organization, which builds the basis for an integrated secretariat with the conditions of service that offer increased job security and equity of treatment of staff. And we have made actually quite a bit of headway in creating an integrated human resources framework, which also brings together the multi-skilled and mobile staff. Now, the one element that has not yet been approved by the General Assembly, and which we have put before the Assembly this fall, is the continuing contracts, the continuing appointments, as we call it, and that's the third element of this human resources reform that we hope the General Assembly will look at and hopefully approve. This report that we've issued provides information that has been requested by member states, and particular procedures for granting and terminating continuing appointments, which are the eligibility criteria and the role of the performance appraisal systems. And there are some member states who have very strong views on that, which I am sure you are aware of. But we also have to look at the financial and management implications of granting continuing appointments, and also the implications of the implementation of these continuing appointments on the geographical ranges, on JPOs, and also on the successful NCE candidates. So you can't always take it in isolation, but there's always a whole range of it. I want to mention one other issue that is very dear to anyone who works in the Department of Management, and that is the enterprise resource planning, or as we call it, the UMOJA. When I say to you that we have approximately a $10 billion a year budget, including peacekeeping and regular budget, we really don't have the tools to properly handle this, and that does not even include the extra budgetary resources. That's just what is granted under the regular budget and the peacekeeping budget. And what we really need to do is the ERP represents a unique opportunity to build an integrated global information system for the UN Secretariat. We have named it UMOJA. It was on the basis of a competition that we did, and UMOJA means unity in Swahili, which we thought was very appropriate. And this will be the essential facilitator of all of these reforms. It will be really quite revolutionary by renewing the way that we manage the human, the financial, and the material resources of the UN. And in order to increase transparency, we also want to link the results to the use of resources and therefore provide much more efficient services and timely information to member states, which they are always requesting us to do. And sometimes it needs a lot of human resources involvement to actually get them the data. So we also feel that Umoja will actually increase accountability and transparency and internal controls for all types of resources. Now, let me get back to the financial situation, which was the indicated topic for today. First of all, I'd like to pay tribute to the 22 member states that have paid in full all assessments that were due and payable as of 20 October. And that means they have paid the regular budget, they've paid the peacekeeping assessments, they've paid for the international tribunals and for the capital master plan. And I'd like to name them. They were Australia, Austria, Azerbaijan, Canada, Congo, Croatia, Finland, Germany, Iceland, Ireland, Italy, Liechtenstein, Monaco, New Zealand, Niger, the Philippines, Singapore, the Slovak Republic, South Africa, Sweden, Switzerland, and Tajikistan. We have 123 member states that have paid their regular budget assessments in full, so it's quite a sizable number. And a positive element is the reduction in the level of unpaid peacekeeping assessments. At 2.1 billion, unpaid peacekeeping assessments are 780 million lower than at the end of 2008, and 813 million below the October 2008 levels. That really is a very significant drop in the outstanding debt. The current level of unpaid assessments reflects reduced amounts owed for peacekeeping by major contributors, and also the lower level of assessments issued for this peacekeeping fiscal year, which actually has not been decided because the new scale of assessments had not been decided for 2010. So that will need to kick in once the decision is taken. There is very clearly an unpredictable amount and timing of the peacekeeping assessments which are issued throughout the year, because the Security Council, of course, decides on these issues not on a regular timetable, but whenever they look at these issues and the budget comes up. And therefore it can be much more difficult for member states to keep up with these assessments, because obviously the amounts are very large, and also they don't always know how to budget for them and when to budget for them. And the 22 member states, which I mentioned just a few moments ago, have all paid their peacekeeping assessments as of 20 October, and I already named them. The outstanding amount for the international tribunals for Rwanda and the former Yugoslavia is, however, 10 million higher in 2009 when we compare it to 2008. 84 member states have paid their assessed contributions in full for both tribunals, and that is actually 13 fewer than last year at this time. Last year was 97 compared to 84 this year. And the total budget for the Capital Master Plan project of 1.9 billion was approved, as you're aware, in December 2006, and 12 member states opted at that time for the one-time payment, and the remaining 180 member states are under the multi-year payment system. And as of 20 October, the payments totaling 1.1 billion have been made against assessments due and payable, and there are 86 million still outstanding. And in addition, a number of member states which did not opt for one-time payments still have made advance payments, which of course is always very welcome. So in all, 119 member states have paid in full their CMP assessments as of 20 October. Now, what does it mean for the overall picture, if I give a roundup? The cash balances are projected to be positive for all categories at year-end. Of course, the final outcome will depend on the last quarter contributions, and we hope that there will be many. The unpaid peacekeeping assessments reflect a decrease as compared to last year, October 2008, reflecting the reduced amounts owed for peacekeeping by major contributors, as well as the lower levels of assessment issued for the peacekeeping fiscal year, again because the 2010 scale of assessment has not yet kicked in and it needs to be presented at that time. So the bottom line is really, while unpaid assessments have decreased for peacekeeping operations, there are increases for the regular budget, tribunals, and the Capital Master Plan. And the number of member states meeting their obligations in full is lower than 1 year ago across all categories. So that is the not-so-good news. Now, what do we have? To conclude, unpaid assessments, unpaid assessed contributions are currently 3.1 billion. To the regular budget, that's 829 million. peacekeeping 2.1 billion, tribunals 63 million, and CMP 86 million. Again, the financial health of the organization depends on member states, including the major contributors, meeting their financial obligations in full and on time. And that's what I also told them in the briefing. But the final outcome of the financial picture will clearly depend on the measures that are being taken by the member states. Thank you.
Thank you very much.